Today's topic, Luka Doncic. Now, for people following the 2018 draft, NBA draft, if you were interested in some player that can create on the outside, off the dribble, shoot a little bit off the dribble, and do some things that you see James Harden, LeBron, and other players of that nature do, one of the players that you were probably most interested in watching was Luka Doncic. The 6'8", I don't know what to call him, wing, shooting guard, small forward, point guard. He seems to play all those positions, from Slovenia, currently playing for Real Madrid in the EuroLeague. He is recently just turned 19. He has been, I guess he's just coming off injury. It's March 24th. Now he's just had his first game coming off injury. He had 11 points and 7 assists in that game. He had a pretty decent game for somebody that's been out for about a week or so. But one of the things we want to talk about Luka Doncic is Luka Doncic as an NBA prospect. We're not going to talk about him as a EuroLeague prospect or how he is dominating the EuroLeague at age 19 or how he was doing it at the age of 18. What we want to see is what is Luka Doncic's future NBA prospects, because that's what we're here for and that's what's important. Now, the things about Luka Doncic that you have to like is his ball handling at 6'8". If to give you some idea, he's got about the size and measurements of Kawhi Leonard. So he has good measurements for a very big NBA wing. He's not just an NBA wing size. He's a very big NBA wing. So he's got the size at an NBA wing that coaches love, that coaches are crying for and stuff like that, because he has the ability to size down on small ball fours. He's not one of these guys who's short with little arms and a short wingspan. He has been measured at about 6'8". He's got over a 7-foot wingspan, so he's got the measurables. Now, the one thing about it is when you watch him play, and I would implore anybody to just look up Real Madrid 2018 basketball, and you will find some full games of Luka Doncic. So there's no excuse of saying that you only have to watch clips. So you can watch full games of him, and that's where you get a better picture of what Luka Doncic is as a player. And what he is he is a very creative ball handler. He's a creative passer, and he's a creative scorer with the ball. And these are things that are highly valued in today's NBA, especially for a guy that can play multiple positions. His ball handling is top notch. Not just for a 6'8" player, but his ball handling is top notch, period. He has the crossover, the step back. He has a lot of that. He has the hesitation. He is very, very, very fast on the break. I mean, he gets down court with a head of steam. If he gets a rebound, and he grabs and goes, he is going to be hell to stop in the fast break, even at the NBA level. He has the speed to get past and down the court, so that's not going to be a problem for him. Also, he has the ability to create off the dribble at will. I don't know what his eventual NBA position is going to be, and that probably depends on what team he goes to in their roster. For me personally, I think he is better suited to play the point guard, and I would develop him as an exclusive point guard, probably in the mold of what Philly has done with Ben Simmons, and just play him at point guard, let him control the rock, and let him create off the dribble, and just get him used to that. And I would try to construct my roster, since he's just 19, I would try to construct my future roster in which little point guards would have to either check him or one of my wings. I would not put him with an undersized shooting guard. I would not put him around players that can't score or shoot. I would have him being part of a big lineup of long, lanky defenders, sort of like what Milwaukee tried to do under Jason Kidd, where you have all this length on the perimeter, but instead of having these small, traditional sized point guards, I would have Luka Doncic at the point of attack, and that would kind of, kill one of the problems that he does have with defense, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, that's how I would, if I was a GM, that's how I would picture him, regardless of what my team look like right now. Luka Doncic is the level of prospect that when you draft, you plan on drafting him as the focal point of your future team, which means every other decision that you make from the moment you draft him is going to be about putting guys around him that make him perform at the highest level, because you're going to be using a top 3 pick at worst, I would say, at him. Maybe I would say top 5, because anything can happen. We're not, NBA GMs are known to make mistakes, so anything can happen, and other players can rise up, especially in this draft, because you have some players that are very, very big, a lot of size in this draft, and he's one of the few perimeter players that are worthy of a top 5 pick. So it would depend on draft order and the NBA GMs involved. But if I were the NBA GM, that's how I would picture him. I would want him to be an exclusive point guard for my team, and I would want to force other teams to guard him with point guards. So that's how I would use him. Now, like I said, Luka Doncic has no problem creating off the dribble. He can get to the basket. He also provides, if you watch some of his games and some of his highlight videos, you will see that he does provide pretty decent rim protection for a wing. But one of the great things that he will get your team if he's at point guard is he will provide great rebounding. He rebounds like a power forward, basically. He has great rebounding instincts, and like I told you earlier, that grab and go that he does and push, he is going to be something to behold in the NBA, where he's playing with other athletes and other players that can score and other players that can get out on the break and get above the rim and finish, because he is a pinpoint passer, even when he's on the move. So it's going to be very, very difficult to stop. And plus, he has the ability, not only the ability, but he has the gumption, the cojones to pull up off the break from 3. So you can't give him space. Now for some of the things that are the negatives on Luka Doncic, one of the big negatives on Luka Doncic is his lack of elite athleticism. And I will admit, if you're a big NBA fan and you've been watching NBA wings and perimeter players for all year, especially the way the NBA is played now, when you watch highlights of Luka Doncic, he's going to seem very, very slow to you. Now, it's a lot of things that you have to put in context. And one of the players that you have to really put in context is, I would say, the slowest NBA player, and especially the slowest NBA prospect that I've ever seen, my whole time, especially for somebody who was going to be a perimeter player, was the Spurs' Kyle Anderson. Now, if you can remember Kyle Anderson when he was coming out of college, he had the nickname Slow-Mo. He was a player that could do just about anything you wanted with the ball. He even had a pretty average shot, but his feet are slow as molasses. But one thing you do notice is Kyle Anderson has carved out a niche in the NBA simply because he is such an intelligent player. Now, I say that to say this: Luka Doncic is an elite athlete compared to Kyle Anderson. Luka Doncic is more skilled. He has a better shot, and he is just faster in other aspects of the game. Now, laterally, he is not an elite athlete. That's we're not going to even play that game. But one of the things that we have to remember is Luka Doncic has not had NBA conditioning yet. When he was able to get a little NBA conditioning from P3, he did look more athletic. I mean, that's just simple. He looked more athletic after that, but he wasn't able to fully engage in that program like he will be after this European season is over. And I expect that once Summer League starts, and when he gets in Summer League, he's going to look like a very different player. He's going to look more athletic. I'll say this, especially when you get him in NBA spacing. And like I said, if you can force him to be guarded by other point guards, especially guys that are smaller, he's going to be able to bully them to death. He is going to be very, very hard to stop, and he's so creative off the dribble that he's going to be able to get into the paint at some point, especially with the way he plays the pick and roll, which is also one of his biggest strengths. Not just passing off the pick and roll, but shooting, scoring, and getting in the paint and creating. So I would say that Luka Doncic has a chance to be an elite creator, an elite point guard in the NBA. And when I say elite point guard, I mean a player that's on the John Wall level as far as point guards concerned. Now, don't get it confused. I'm not saying he's John Wall, because there are two different players. I'm saying that level of player, a player that's going to come into the NBA. And in the beginning, John Wall had probably the exact opposite problem that Luka Doncic is going to have in the NBA. John Wall was just all speed and really didn't know what to do with it. And Luka Doncic is going to have to be able to learn how to utilize his creativity and his physicality in order to take advantage of NBA defenses. And I feel if he gets in a system and he is surrounded by players who also know how to play, because that is very detrimental to a player to get with players who have low basketball IQs. He will get it done eventually. And like I said, he's the type of player, he's the level of prospect that you should be your organization should be saying everything we do from now on after we draft him is going to be to make him a better player and a more effective player. And that's not just him as an individual. I mean, that's him in a team concept. We want a team built around him that's going to perform better than the sum of its parts. And I think he's the type of player that helps you do that. And I think especially at point guard, because if you play him at small forward, which a lot of people suggest because they see his lack of athleticism, if you play him at small forward, one of his big advantages, his size and length, are going to be kind of gobbled up. Even though he's going to be bigger than the average NBA small forward, teams will be able to size up to him a little bit better, and especially with the length, which is going to be the important part. So if you get him and you put him at the point guard, you're going to alleviate one of those problems, like I said earlier. Now, how does he fit in Memphis? Now, the Memphis Grizzlies are, as you can see, came into the 2017-2018 season hoping to extend their playoff run of 7 years to 8. They got off on a good start. They had beaten Houston twice. They also beat Golden State before Mike Conley got hurt. And Mike Conley was dealing with a chronic injury that finally needed to get surgically repaired. So Luka Doncic wouldn't be able to ideally play that same role his ideal role in Memphis initially, but he will be surrounded by a couple of players that have a history of winning. It's well known in Memphis that Marc Gasol loves him as a prospect. So I could tell you right now that if Memphis has a pick and Luka Doncic is available and they pass on Luka Doncic, you are going to get the surly Marc Gasol this training camp. And it'll probably mean that they're going to have to deal Marc Gasol if they pass on Luka Doncic. Yeah, it is well known that Marc Gasol does love Luka Doncic as a player and would welcome the Grizzlies picking him and playing him, because Luka Doncic is one of those guys that he could probably start day one in Memphis at small forward. You could run out Mike Conley, Dillon Brooks, Luka Doncic, and JaMychal Green and Marc Gasol, and you basically, if you can bring back Tyreek to come off the bench and to play those backup 1, 2, and 3 positions, and with all the other young players that Memphis has, you basically can be competing for a playoff spot in the West if, Mike Conley comes back healthy and Marc Gasol does not fall off a cliff as a player at the age of 33, 34. You can basically compete for a playoff position next year. So I think that's what, if the Grizz get the opportunity, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies did take Luka Doncic number 1, even though it'd probably be better to trade down to somebody like Phoenix, who's in love with DeAndre Ayton. Trade down with them even at 1, if they get 1, to trade down to 2 to maybe pick up another draft pick or another young player that they can fill in, and get another asset, because they're missing they might not have their 2019 first that's owed to Boston. But yeah, this is Luka Doncic's primary fit in Memphis. He can be the offensive initiator, if not primary, then the secondary initiator, and that would give Memphis something that they've never had the whole time I've been a fan, is 3 guys, hopefully that's if Tyreek comes back, 3 guys that can create off the dribble, 2 of them that have ideal size for their position, because a closing lineup that you can run out there in some situations is Mike Conley, Tyreek Evans, Dillon Brooks, Luka Doncic, and Marc Gasol. And you can have Marc Gasol, out at the 3-point line, and you got 3 guys, one of which is likely to have an advantage off the dribble. And you got Dillon Brooks also providing spacing, and with Tyreek's improved 3-point shooting and Doncic's right now we'll say serviceable 3-point shooting, because that's another thing that people have to understand, because I know when people see a Euro player, especially a white Euro player, they automatically think, oh, he's going to be a great shooter. Well, Luka Doncic is not a great shooter. I think he has the potential to be a very good shooter, but I think his role at Real Madrid kind of limits him from being a great shooter, because he is asked to take a lot of tough shots at the end of the shot clock. So it's something to be evaluated. And I think when he gets around players that are better creators than him and can create open shots for him, instead of him having to do a lot of creating for himself, you will see his 3-point shooting percentage go up a little bit. I expect him to be a 35 to 37% 3-point shooter as a rookie. I don't think he's going to struggle as a rookie. I just don't think he's going to be a very good 3-point shooter as a rookie. He'll be average, probably NBA league average as a 3-point shooter as a rookie. And I think as his career goes and as he gets stronger and in better condition, you will see his 3-point shooting become better, especially off the dribble. And you're going to see a very, very creative player. So that would be, I would like to say, like Golden State had their death lineup. I think that would be a death lineup for the Memphis Grizzlies. 5 capable 3-point shooters, 3 creative dribblers, a potentially good defensive big in the middle that could provide some rim protection. And, you know, I just see that as a great way to finish games in the NBA. Now, this Luka Doncic video has gone on 20 minutes, probably a little bit longer than I thought it was going to go on. And I'm going to try to do a draft breakdown on every major prospect in the NBA draft, in the upcoming NBA draft. So, you know, tune in. Tomorrow's breakdown will be either Marvin Bagley or Jaren Jackson. I don't know if I'm going to say Marvin Bagley until he's eliminated from the NCAA tournament, which I might. So it'll probably be Jaren Jackson tomorrow. I'm going to do Jaren Jackson tomorrow. You know, the good, the bad, and the fit for Jaren Jackson. And like I said, I'm going to probably get this format kind of knocked down a little bit, and get the graphics a little bit better. But right now we're just going to show the highlights of the players. But, you know, we got I got a lot of players and a lot of videos scheduled for upcoming draft. Like I said, we're 3 months out from the draft, so we're going to try to pick it up a bit. And from now until draft day, or probably from now until after the summer league, we're probably going to be doing daily videos, and we're going to see how this goes. This is Hustle Hoops. Please make sure, if you like this video and you want to, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel to make sure you don't miss any videos. Hit the bell for notifications so you will get my notifications on my daily updates of NBA prospects. Like I said, I've already decided in my head tomorrow's going to be Jaren Jackson Jr. So come back tomorrow for my Jaren Jackson Jr., the good, the bad, the fit with the Memphis Grizzlies. This is Hustle Hoops. Peace.